It's Monday, March 2nd, and we're going to take a look more at people making poor choices. Not just the people around me making more poor choices, but other people making poor choices. Homework is due tomorrow. I handed back all the book reports and the quizzes since the homework's due tomorrow. And then we have stuff from there. And then the homework, again, remind you, the homeworky bits. Then, last time we do this review thing before we get to move on from there. Ooh, and someone left their quiz on the ground. I can't wait to find out whose it is so I get to charge my points. Could be mine. And then, let's see, the very first thing to exist in Greek mythology was?
Chaos.
Chaos split to form what two gods? Gaia or Gaia, also known as? Uranus or Uranus, known as? Their first two kids were named, first set of kids were named?
Hippopotamus.
Kind of scary. How many were there?
3.
How many heads do they have?
5.
What was their issue?
They're ugly.
So what happened to them? Then we get to the second race of kids. Second race of kids were? How many were there?
3.
Size-wise, how do they compare?
Kneecap.
3 of them. And then from there, what were they really good at? And what was their downfall? So what happened to them? And then we get to the third set of children, who are the? And how many were there?
A lot.
12. We invented something new with Titans would be?
Girls.
Now, how many were there?
6.
Well, and then from there, I added a new picture. No, not the new picture. Let's go to Grandma Earth wants grandbabies. So who is it the guys have to marry? Then they decide to. Here's my new picture. I even gave you Tartars with the monsters down there. They decide to go and build a place to worship Mommy and Daddy. So where do they build a place to worship? On top of a mountain. And then what do they call it? And that's where Mount Olympus comes in. I decided to make a new picture to remind myself to cover that one. And then with the overthrow of Uranus, on that one, who is it that is chosen to do it?
Cronus.
What weapon does he get to use? Do you guys remember what it was made out of?
Adamantium.
Not aluminum, like the kid in first period yelled out. I think that would just bend when you tried to hit it. It's like made out of foil. When was he supposed to do it?
When the sky comes down.
And he pops up, chops off a kid's B points for having out his iPad trying to work on homework while the teacher is teaching, and then chases him. And every time he cuts into Father Sky, what happens?
A chunk falls down and creates a monster.
And they're going to show up in our stories coming up. Then, gets him all the way to the edge of the earth, and before Uranus disappears,
He curses.
what does the curse say?
You kill every star.
Nicely done. Then, I think I forgot to touch on this with you guys last week, so I'm going to come back to you from there. If only there was a name on it, I bet it would help you out. So then we get to, the whole reason that Mother Earth wants Father Sky overthrown. What does she want to have happen?
She wants to see her babies.
So as soon as Cronus becomes king, and he goes up to Mount Olympus, tells everyone else out there, hey, I'm the new king of all the gods, and starts talking to them. And then, why would you throw it and lose points?
I don't know.
Me either. Choices. She goes, hey, don't forget the whole reason that you are doing this is because you are supposed to free your older brothers. He's like, oh, of course. He's like, where am I supposed to find them? So she explains to them, there's this big long passage you get to go down. There's this big place down there called Tartarus. You're going to throw open these doors, and you get a chance to free them, and they get a chance to be up here, and that's what I've always wanted. He's like, gotcha, Grandmama. Don't you worry about it. Sorry, Mom. Don't you worry about it, Mom. I'm on it. So he goes running down the path, finds the giant doors, undoes the giant lock, throws open the giant doors, and finds a humongous room with a giant pit in the middle of it. And Cronus walks up. He's like, hey, older brothers, my name is Cronus, and I am here to free you. I hope you enjoy your new life. Oh, my God. And he looks in the pit and goes, what are those? And Mother Earth goes, those are your brothers. That's who you're going to free. He goes, no. Those are horrifying. And if I were to free them, then I would have people throwing up forever. And so we can't have people just throwing up. So we're just, I have a new plan. It's called leave them down there and shut the door and never let those things come out. Mother was like, no, that's not the deal. The whole point of you overthrowing Uranus was to free them. He goes, yeah, you should have given me a picture because that's not happening. So he backs up, shuts the door, and leaves them down there. Mother Earth is furious, but she has no arms. So she's like, I would strangle you, but I can't reach your neck. So she just figures out she'll get revenge. She just has to wait to let it happen. So Cronus goes back up to Mount Olympus and says, hey, I'm the new king. Uranus is gone. The sky is gone, replaced by Stepdaddy Sky. And now everything is great. And here's where he starts bringing in his friends to help him lead. The first one being Prometheus.
Smart guy. Smart.
And
Tell the future.
that's going to play a role in our story coming up in a moment. His twin brother, which is
stupid. Very bad geometry.
And then third brother, who is
Atlas.
and he is strong. Nicely done. So now, with this, things go pretty well. Cronus, the new leader. But Cronus has a small rage issue where he tends to get mad and lash out at other gods and do punchy stuff. So because of that, they keep saying, hey, you're not making a very good leader. So he goes and talks to Prometheus. He goes, hey, buddy, I'm having issues where I just get mad and like want to punch people. Can you help me get past this? And Prometheus goes, I have an idea. Why don't we create a race of like tiny titans, so when you get mad, instead of punching titans, you can go punch these other tiny titans and release all of your anger on them. And Cronus goes, hey, that's a genius idea. I like it. Get on that. So Prometheus goes down to Earth and grabs some water and takes some dirt and mixes it together to make mud and squishes out the first little group of mud people. Sprinkles magic titan dust on them. Sprinkle, sprinkle, and they come to life. I'm a real boy. And they dance around. This creates the first race of humans. He only creates males because they're easier to make because women require brains. And so he creates this whole race of just guys. And he tells Cronus that they exist whenever he gets mad. He can come down to Earth and just stomp on him and squish him, and it helps him get rid of all of his anger. Which seems like it'd be bad for humans, but this was actually called the Golden Age of Mankind. Because during this time period, we only have guys, so women have not been invented yet. We also have no war, we have no drama, and we have very few issues. Aside from Cronus showing up on occasion and just going and like squirting between his toes. Beyond that, and wintertime had not been invented yet. So it was non-stop summertime. So the kids were always on summer break. So because of that, it was the golden age. Everyone was happy unless you got stepped on. Cronus was not going around punching other gods. People are doing wonderfully. Till one day, Cronus' wife, Rhea, comes up to him. And she says, hey, hon, I have good news. And he goes, oh, what's your good news? And she goes, I'm pregnant.
Oh, boy.
And he goes, oh, because there's a problem with her being pregnant. That problem being?
He was cursed.
Now, turns out he never told Rhea about this curse for fear that she would stop loving him. And so he decided to keep it a secret. So now he's worried that this baby that she's getting ready to have is going to overthrow him. So he decides he's going to have to solve this problem. Now, if you know that there is a person who is going to overthrow you, most humans have an easy solution for that.
Kill him.
Exactly. So his first thought is, when this baby comes out, I'm just going to take a sword and you just stab the baby, and then you have a baby on a stick. But that's not going to work for him with his problem solving. Because
They're immortal.
it's not going to kill the baby. You're just going to have a baby on a stick that just keeps on screaming. You like spin the baby like, wee, wee. And the baby's just going to sit there and scream, but doesn't kill the baby. He was like, well, baby stabbing, as much fun as it is, will not solve my problem. So he comes up with another idea. He's like, if I can't stab the baby, I have a place where I can put the baby, and that way I can make sure it doesn't get back to me. And that would be down in Tartarus. He's like, I can just chuck the baby down into Tartarus, and that'll solve the problem. But the issue there is then he starts worrying about what if someone comes down there and frees the baby, and he can't keep his eyes on it. He even puts like a guard down there, and that come back to worry. He's like, well, I don't like that idea of leaving a baby out in Tartarus. That can come back to haunt me. There has to be a better solution. And he comes up with a better solution and realizes there's a place to put the baby where the baby can't overthrow him, and he'll know if the baby gets free, and he can keep track of it non-stop.
In his tummy.
And that is his solution. Again, though, he does not tell Mrs. Him for fear that she'll be upset. So he has to find a way to sneakily get baby into tummy. So he comes up with a plan. He waits until the baby is born, and Rhea comes in with a little baby by the name of Hestia. And she's like, look, we're proud parents. Here's baby Hestia. Isn't she adorable? And she hands over baby to Cronus. And Cronus holds the baby and is like, oh, it's an adorable baby. And he's like, look, it's like, goo goo gaga. He's like, goo goo gaga, overthrow me, will you? And he's holding the baby, and then he has the idea. So he does like little baby jiggle, baby jiggle, baby jiggle. And then he has like a little baby sniff. He's like, ooh, it smells like new baby. It's got that fresh baby scent. He's like, ooh, kind of makes your nose kind of tingle, kind of makes you, and then swallows the baby. Rhea freaks out. She's like, did you just sneeze? He's like, huh? Did you swallow the baby? He's like, it went in my mouth. I didn't want to choke. He's like, I had to swallow so I wouldn't die. He's like, you love me, don't you? She's like, but he's like, it's okay. It'll probably never happen again. And he swallows the baby. Rhea freaks out, but he says, you know what? These things happen. What are you going to do? Time goes by. He and Rhea make up, and eventually she gets pregnant again. This time she brings in next baby to him. This is a baby by the name of baby Hera. And she walks in, but this time she's suspicious. And she's like, hey, we have a new baby, but I don't want you to sniff this one. No baby snorting. And he's like, all right, fine. No baby snorting. And so she hands over the baby, but the whole time she's giving him like that stink eye thing. She's like, don't even bring it near your nose. He's like, oh, no. He's holding the baby. He's like, how am I going to get this baby into my belly? And he's doing the baby jiggle walk. Baby jiggle walk. Like, it's the thing with babies. He's doing a little baby jiggle walk, trying to figure out how he's going to get this one like the whole time. He's like, I'm not sniffing it. He's like, and then he does like, and all of a sudden as he's walking, his foot catches other foot. He's like, oh, what? And the baby goes in there. He's like, I got the, and swallows the second baby. Rhea freaks out. She's like, the baby. He's like, it's safe. She's like, ah! And he eats the second baby. This continues through 3 more babies to the point where he stops even putting effort into it, where she walks in with baby. He's like, hey, is that a baby? Oh, I'm sorry. She's like, come on! And starts yelling at him. So eventually, she's pregnant with baby number 6. And by now, Rhea is starting to catch on that maybe this baby eating thing is not a complete accident. Like the first 3, maybe. And then 4, she got suspicious. And then 5, she's like, all right, I'm catching on to it now. So baby 6, she decides that's no more baby eating. So she decides to go get advice and goes and talks to her mom for advice. And who's her mom? Gia, Mother Earth. So she goes down to talk to Gia. And she goes, Gia, I'm having some marital issues. And Mother's like, tell me about it. She goes, so what's going on? She goes, well, I've had 5 babies. Mother's like, oh, they're adorable. Bring them here. And she's like, can't. My husband keeps eating my babies. And Mother's like, ooh, I think I saw that on a talk show once. So let me help you out with this. So the next time you have a baby, and Rhea's like, actually, pregnant right now. She's like, ooh, well, when you give birth to this baby, why don't you bring that baby to me, and I will raise the baby instead, and then that way he can't eat it. Rhea's like, oh, well, that's a really good idea. It's a better idea than putting away your blue sheet and losing points, but it's definitely a good idea. She goes, but here's the problem. When I'm pregnant, I've got belly like blurb. Then when I give birth, I get all thin like blip, and I've got a feeling he's going to be suspicious when I go blurp down to blip. So because of that, how am I going to hide that part? Mother's like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, okay, all right, here's an idea. See, here's what you're going to do. When you give birth to this little baby, what I want you to do is bring baby to me, and I will raise baby for you. Rhea's like, okay. And what I will do is I will give you a rock. And you're going to give the rock to your husband, and he's going to eat the rock thinking it's a baby. Rhea goes, okay, let me get this straight. You want me to take the rock? Oh, no. Put a blanket on it, like a smiley face. Rhea's like, oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm going to take a rock and wrap a blanket around it and then put a smiley face on it, and I'm going to give that to my husband, and he's going to eat that thinking it's a baby. Mother Earth goes, yeah. Rhea goes, that's not going to work. Mother goes, your husband's a guy, right? She goes, yeah. She goes, it'll work. So that is the plan that Rhea comes up with. So Rhea takes baby, puts a little smiley face on it, gives the baby to Mother Earth. Mother Earth takes it to raise it. She takes rock, puts a little blanket around it, little eyeballs on it, takes it up to Cronus. Cronus, sitting on Mount Olympus, watching TV, eating popcorn. He's like, oh, my favorite movie. Clicky is like, Remember the Titans. He's like, I love this movie. And just sitting there watching it. And all of a sudden, in walks Rhea with the baby, with a rock. And she's like, hey, hon, we have a baby. Make sure you don't eat this one, no matter how delicious it sounds. Cronus is like, popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. Baby, popcorn, popcorn. What'd you say? She's like, no, you just ate my baby. You horrible man. And then walks away. Cronus is like, stupid woman, I ate your baby. And they both think they've won. Rhea now has a baby being raised down on Earth with her mom, and Cronus thinks he's eaten all of his children, and everything is wonderful. Time goes by. Young Zeus grows up down on Earth. And eventually, Zeus gets to the point where he gets to his 18th birthday, or whatever an 18th birthday is the equivalent for God's. And on that day, he is talking to his grandma and his mom about the fact that he's sad. And he's like, you know what? Here's what makes me sad. I've had a good life. Don't get me wrong. I love mom. I love grandma. But one, kind of wish I've had siblings. It's been lonely growing up by myself. And grandma goes, well, you do. He goes, like, everyone's my sibling. I know, when you're an only child, like, everyone, she's like, no, you have, like, siblings. He's like, what do you mean I have siblings? She goes, well, your dad ate them when you were a kid. He goes, whoa, I have a dad? She goes, happy 18th birthday. You have a father, and you have siblings, and your father ate your siblings. And he was like, what? Who's my dad? Like some bum? She's like, well, Cronus, king of all the gods. She's like, wait a minute, my father's Cronus, king of all the gods? She's like, yeah. Good birthday, huh? And so Zeus is irate. So he goes and talks to his girlfriend, a girl at the time called Metis, Metis. And he goes and talks to Metis. Yeah, the one from before. This is back in time. And he goes and talks to Metis. He's like, hey, I found out that not only do I have siblings, but I have a father, and my father's king of all the gods, and I'm really angry, and I know how to solve this problem, and here's how I'm going to solve it. I'm going to take a sword, I'm going to go up to Mount Olympus, I'm going to kick in the front door, I'm going to run at my father and go, yeah, and I'm going to chop him in half right across the stomach. And when he goes and falls in two pieces, I'm going to pull out my stomach, from his stomach, all my brothers and sisters, and then we're going to start kicking him. He's like, genius plan. Metis goes, time out, Tiger. How are you going to free them again? He goes, sword. I'm going to run up and just chop him in half. She goes, where are your brothers and sisters? He goes, inside the stomach. She goes, so what are going to happen to them? He goes, well, when I go chopping across... Oh, yeah. Because what's going to happen when he does that?
Chop too.
Now, will it kill them?
No.
Why? Nicely done. But you don't want to meet your brothers and sisters for the first time. And they're like, my name's Poseidon. I used to have arms and legs. And they're like rolling around the ground. It's probably not a good first impression to make. So she goes, hey, I think there's a better solution to all this. And he's like, what? She goes, well, if there's something in his stomach and you want it to come up out of his stomach, there's a way to make it go from in stomach to out of stomach. And that would be to make him throw up. So she goes, here's my plan. I'm going to make for you a special potion. And this potion, she goes, like, gets like some old goat's milk that's gone warm and some vinegar and like mixes them together and gives like a little stirry thing. And she goes, now, if you get him to drink this, he's going to go blah, and he's going to throw up all of your brothers and sisters. They might be a little gooey, but at least they'll be free and in one piece. And he's like, oh, genius. I'm all over it. So he goes ahead and has her make potion, heads up to Mount Olympus with his plan. Sees.
Okay, so does eating people run in the family?
Apparently. That's where he gets the idea later on from the same thing. I just did things out of order to make it more fun. So he goes running up to Mount Olympus and goes up and knocks on the door. Cronus comes and opens the door. He's like, hey, who are you? And Zeus is like, my name is Zuzin, god of pickles. And he's like, oh, I don't recognize you. And he's like, I'm a new god. Hey, anyway, I saw your house. I thought I'd come by and say hi, see what you're up to. Cronus is like, oh, I'm just watching football. And he's like, ooh, who's playing? He's like, my favorite team, the Titans. And he goes ahead and it's all right. It's cringy. He goes ahead and he's like, "Come on in. We'll watch the game together." And tomorrow we'll find out what happens when you watch a game with